Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the stem cells, and we will also review about the specialized cells that we talk about in the last lecture. So let's move to the board so we can start. Okay, so first of all, we have to talk about the specialized cells. As I told you in the last lecture about the specialized cells that have to perform a specific function, and in human body, there are more than 250 specialized cells are there. And how they are going to form? By mitosis process. The mitosis process is there, which is going to convert a cell into identical daughter cell. Division will happen, and we already talk about the mitosis process. So in the mitosis process, what is going to happen? The cell is going to divide into the daughter cell that is going to be identical daughter cell, you can say. And now we have to talk about the stem cells. What are stem cells? We all know that the cells are going to be formed from the embryo. A human is going to be formed by an embryo. How an embryo is going to form? When a sperm and an egg are going to fertilize with each other, they make an embryo. So that embryo, before the division, before the growth happen, that embryo is known as stem cells. Now this embryo has the ability to divide into differentiated cells. Either they are brain cells, eye cells, nose cells, heart cells, different types of cells they can form. So that is the stem cells. That embryo before starting division is known as stem cells, and it can produce a lot of different types of cells. Now we have to talk about three main types of stem cells. In the human, there are two types of cells, and in the plants, one type of stem cells are there. In the human, two cells are the embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. So we have to discuss about that one. As I told you, embryonic stem cells that are going to be formed by the embryo, that are going to be collected from the embryo, are called as embryonic stem cells. And they have the ability to differentiate into different types of cells. Now, second type is the adult stem cells. Adult stem cell, like the human, like me, like you, anyone, they have all the humans have the adult stem cells. Different types of adult stem cells are the bone marrow, skin, liver and brain, and umbilical cord blood. So let's start with the bone marrow. Bone marrow are undifferentiated, or you can say they are partially specialized one. They are not completely specialized. Why? Because they are continuously producing the different types of cells, like red blood cells. They can produce the different types of immune cells throughout the life. When we talk about the skin, skin is again adult stem cell, partially specialized, and the main function, what they can produce cells found in the different layer of the skin and hair follicles. In the same way, like in the liver and the brain, they are produced again, all the cells in the liver and the brain cells. Umbilical cord blood, they can make the different types of blood cells, like red blood cells, white blood cells. They can produce the muscle cell, they can produce the nerve cells. So these are the adult stem cells. In the next, we will talk about their uses, how we are going to use the adult stem cells, or how we are going to use the embryonic stem cells in different diseases, in curing the disease, or in the management, or in the medicines. The second type, the plant cells, are known as meristem cells. And these cells, where they are present at the roots and the shoots of the growing roots and growing shoots of the plant. And they have the ability to divide into any type of new plant or new cells where it is needed. For example, new leaves have to be formed, so they are going to make the new cells for the leaves. And they are very important one. Now we have to talk about animals and plants cells. As I told you before, the animal cells have two types of stem cells and the plant cells have one. Where we are going to use them? In the cloning process. For example, when we talk about the plant, we can make the new clones of that plant, because from one plant, it is easy to get a lot of other plants in a less time, and especially for those that are going to be extinct. We can regrow them by using the stem cells. Second, when we talk about the animals, adult stem cells, they are going to be used. For example, if you have any wound at your skin, they are going to grow. The skin will grow after some time. Why? Because the skin has the adult stem cells that can make new cells for the skin. If your liver is damaged, your body or your liver has the ability, or the adult stem cell of the liver have the ability to make new liver cells. So that's why they are very important if you have any injury in your body. It's for the adult stem cells. But for example, you don't have the adult stem cells. For example, when we talk about the pancreas that is going to produce the insulin, you don't have the adult stem cell here. So how we can treat it? Pancreas is going to produce the insulin, and if the pancreas will be damaged, you can't produce insulin, your body can't produce insulin enough insulin for you, so you will get diabetes. So at that time, what the people do, they are going to use artificial insulin. But for the new research, after the new research, they got that a human can be treated with a diabetes, type 1 diabetes. And how? By using the stem cells. In the same way, if a person got the paralysis, mean nerves are going to be damaged, a person can be cured. How? Again, by using stem cells. What we have to do, let's start it. What we have to do, we have to take the skin from the patient. And what you have to do for that one, you have to take a donor that is going to give the egg. So you have simply take a patient with a diabetes and a donor. Donor will provide you the egg, and you have to take the skin cell of the patient that has a diabetes or other paralysis. And you have to implant that skin cell into the egg. Now from egg, a new embryo will form, and the new embryo is going to divide. So what we have to do, we have to collect the embryos or embryonic cells. And we have to culture in a petri dish, and we can differentiate them according to our desire. Either if we are going to need the pancreas cell, we will produce a pancreas cell from that stem cells. Or if we need the nerve cells, we will produce that one. So this is the best way to use the stem cells. But there are some issues. So what are the issues? We will discuss them. There are a lot of benefits. We can cure the disease that are uncurable, but the risks are more if we are going to grow them artificially in the lab. What will happen? Any virus can act on that one, attack on that one, and the cells that we are going to transplant, that will be not good for the human. A human will get the disease. Second thing, might be possible mutation will happen during their growth. So that will cause what? That will cause the mutant cell that can produce a disease in the human, any disease. Next, there are a lot of social issues. People are not going to think that it is a good method because we have to take the embryo, and embryo mean in the point ethically it is wrong. According to religion, it is wrong to get a embryo to die if we are going to kill a new embryo or a new baby. Next, ethical issues are there. Ethical issue, a lot of people think that we can produce new embryonic stem cells by IVF technique, but still people think that it is not a good thing. So still there is a debate on using the embryonic stem cell for curing the different disease. But when we talk about the plants, there is no ethical issue, there is no social issue. Why? Because plants can be easily created. New plants can be easily produced by using the stem cells. And as I told you before, these stem cells in the plants are used to make a lot of other plants that are going to be extinct. We can produce there more species. Second, we can produce some species which are more pest resistance or the disease resistance. So it's a good advantage for farmers because they can produce a lot of species which are more resistant. Next, for the researcher, for example, there is a plant that is going to be used for a disease, to cure a disease, but their growth is so less. So what they're going to do, they use the same method, the stem cell growth, and they will provide them artificial media and produce at a time a large of plants and use them for the different purposes, for the different research purposes. So this is all about the stem cells. If you don't get anything, you can ask. Take care. Bye.